As far as I'm concerned, I don't know those bills well enough to give you a comment. On the face of it, it seems reasonable that anyone who does anything wrong should be liable to punishment and should not be holding a high constitutional office or a political office. I think that makes sense.
Party coherence versus personal convictions. Is Mr. Shashi Tharoor somewhere stuck between the two? That's the question I want to address, because clearly the man is in the news again. Hi, I'm Afrida Rahman Ali and you're watching the Free Press Journal. Do like, subscribe and share our videos if you find the information relevant, and don't forget to touch the bell icon to get notified. Let's get started. So Shashi Tharoor, a former diplomat who was an Undersecretary of the United Nations, who was a former Minister of External Affairs of State, he's risen in politics in India over time, but now this is a very critical juncture for Mr. Shashi Tharoor. He has been barred from participating in any Congress events in Kerala. The state Congress unit is absolutely has turned against him. So he is a persona non grata for Kerala Congress, and that is not a good sign. He is an MP from Thiruvananthapuram. So the internal rift there in Kerala is quite severe. And here is a man who has time and again, despite everything, of course, he's been called out for not towing the party line, despite everything, has done it again. Shashi Tharoor goes out on a limb and says the bill that the Modi government has brought in about removing ministers from position if they are in jail for over 30 days is reasonable. The Congress is crying hoarse about how this is a draconian bill. Whether it is Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi, they smell conspiracy in this, that what the Modi government intends to do is arrest leaders of the opposition parties, throw them in jail, and then remove them from their constitutionally elected position. That's the conspiracy that the Congress is crying foul over. Mr. Shashi Tharoor makes a departure from this position and says there's nothing wrong with it. It's only reasonable that somebody who's in jail for over 30 days actually resigns from his position, and that's what he feels. Prior to this, during Operation Sindoor, again, Shashi Tharoor on several points sounded divergent from his party position. Chief among them being the issue of Mr. Trump's announcing that he has mediated, and he, in fact, was the first to announce that there's a ceasefire. The Congress had taken that issue up very strongly. If you remember the Narendra surrender jibe that Rahul Gandhi made. And there again, Shashi Tharoor was found to be towing the government line. When he went representing delegations abroad, of course, many other MPs did the same. He pushed forward Modi government's line. That, of course, can be still acceptable, since that was the whole idea of having a multi-party delegation to put India's point across to other nations. But what is happening now is that Mr. Tharoor has made it absolutely clear that his own convictions stand above party coherence. Could there be political implications for him in this? Certainly. The party, in fact, could take disciplinary action. Remember, he's part of the Congress Working Committee, which is the highest decision-making body of the Congress party. Let's listen in to what Shashi Tharoor said about the latest bill of the Modi government as I sign off. Thanks for watching.
It seems reasonable that anyone who does anything wrong should be liable to punishment and should not be holding a high constitutional office or a political office. I think that makes sense. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know those bills well enough to give you a comment. On the face of it, it seems reasonable that anyone who does anything wrong should be liable to punishment and should not be holding a high constitutional office or a political office. I think that makes sense. On the second issue of the online gaming, I am on record. I have written an article in 2019. I made the case for some time now that, to my mind, the government should be legalizing online gaming and taxing it, regulating it and taxing it, because then the benefits of the money that people are spending anyway on this process can be spent on social causes. If you simply ban it, it goes underground and the mafia makes money from it. We know that what's happening with gambling in this country. There is matka, there is illegal betting on cricket, this and that. Who is getting the benefit of that? Only the crooks and criminals and gamblers. Whereas the government should have actually regulated and taxed it, as many other countries are doing elsewhere in the world. But anyway, ideally this kind of issue should be referred to a standing committee and studied in more detail. That hasn't happened, and I just don't understand.